3,000 years ago, the Bible says that God created the wisest man who ever lived. King Solomon understood the importance of this wisdom and said, "How wonderful to be wise, to be able to analyze and interpret things. Wisdom lights up a person's face, softening its hardness. Listen to what your father teaches you. Don't neglect your mother's teaching. Tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. Never let loyalty and kindness get away from you. Wear them like a necklace. Write them deep within your heart."
Tanti saluti da Volturara Appula, provincia di Foggia, il più bel paese di questa zona. Greetings from our beautiful little town of Volturara Appula, provincia di Foggia. We are located in the mountains of Italy, about 4 hours east of Rome. Our town has existed since the time of Christ. My name is Michele Marafino, and I hope you enjoy learning from this family who come to your community from here long ago and whose names are so familiar to you. Ciao!
Our parents came from a little village in Italy named Volturara Appola, La Provincia di Foggia. Foggia is the kind of like the state, similar to Indiana, and then Volturara Appola would be the name of the town, like Elkhart. Very small village. It sits way up at the top of a mountain. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
There is something special about an Italian. Italians got smiles on their face. We're very joyful and happy people. It doesn't take too many people to create a party in an Italian community. Our food, everything's based around that kitchen table.
Well, as we came into the harbor, of course, we saw the Statue of Liberty. All the people flocked over to the one side of the ship to see that. It was a thrill to get to the States.
The first Italians arrived in Elkhart in the 1890s. Angelo Dente was a successful shoe merchant. A few years after the turn of the century, more Italians came, primarily to work on the railroad. Harrison, Mason, and Pearl Streets are located next to the railroad, and so it was a good place to settle, especially for people who couldn't afford transportation. Most of them came from the same hometown in Italy and came only with the possessions they could carry in a duffel bag or suitcase. Most had no money. But as a group, they brought some things that proved to be more valuable for success than possessions. Traditions, honesty, integrity, determination, happiness, joy, and lots of love for people and country.
Work was dignity, it was good, it was important. My father worked untold of hours of physical labor for $10 a week. And there was never, ever a complaint.
When she got over here from Italy, a lot of the Italian ladies would get letters from Italy, and a lot of them couldn't read, and so she would read them to them in Italian. And it was always interesting for me to sit there and listen to her read those letters. And then, a lot of the letters contained sad news, and then the women would sit in the kitchen and cry. And
I remember the sad day when I was home that day. It was on a Monday, and we got a letter from Italy, and whenever there's a black stripe around it, I mean someone died. And I said, oh no, it was her. Her mother died. She cried like a baby. Sad day.
Honest people, fun-loving people, down to earth. Everybody had the same thing. Nobody was showing off.
Their character was loving and caring.
We just love the Italian-American heritage. I mean, we could walk down the street, whether it be Harrison Street or Mason Street or something, and everybody knew everybody.
If they told you they'd meet you someplace at 12 o'clock, they were there, very reliable. It was a wonderful group of people.
Years ago, the Italian people were not too popular. We were damn Dagos.
Well, in those days, the Italians were looked down upon. You hate to go uptown because the Italians, just like they weren't allowed up there to mix with them people. That's the way it felt anyway.
I can remember my dad, he had to walk in the street to go to Main Street.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of difference. I mean, I remember every time we got on Main Street, they always tell you to get back and go down to Spaghetti Avenue where you belong, and a lot of times they call you garlic snappers. And
the families in the neighborhood, big, large. Everybody had big family.
You didn't see any only children when we were growing up, did we?
The Italians who came here brought with them the traditions and values that helped all of us to survive and blend in with American culture. At the same time, these traditions helped us Italian families retain our heritage so that our children and our children's children could learn how to grow up as decent and successful citizens. The food, the music, the church, the festivals, all helped bind neighbors together in a way that still exists today.
The Italian-American experience in America is about the family, first and foremost.
And we had a lot of fun. I mean, there were some stories that I could tell you about some of my friends on the street that to this day, they make every one of us laugh. You didn't have to leave Harrison Street to find out what was going on in Elkhart.
I think that if an Italian-American were to visit an Italian-American family in Milwaukee or Syracuse or Philadelphia or San Diego, or wherever, they will encounter the same experience they had when they were growing up.
All in all, I think we're lucky and fortunate, blessed to have a background that we can remember and feel like we can express ourselves as strong, liking the right things.
For the Italian-American, home cooking was a craft that was designed to develop the endurance of family bonds.
Yeah, Monday was soup and pasta, of course, every day. Homemade. My mother made all the pasta we ate.
One day, I don't know if it was Thursday, we'd have spaghetti, we'd have polenta, we'd had eggplant. It varied different days. Italian chicken.
Tuesday, I think that was another pasta day.
We ate a lot of pasta.
I would say every day of the week it was pasta, then more pasta.
Well, in an Italian family, the role of the church was central to your existence.
Most of the Italian Americans were Roman Catholics, so church plays a critical role.
Well, I think our values stem around our faith. Strong Roman Catholic faith, not just in our household, but in the entire Italian community.
You must go to church every Sunday. We all went to a Catholic school, St. Vincent.
We would walk to church, and that was, what, a couple miles? Yep. I always go to church, never missed, the whole gang. By the time you got on Harrison Street, it was just like a parade. You stop here, and first thing you'd want to be another one. By the time you got to where the paint shop was, it'd be about 25 people.
Sundays was special. You go down Harrison Street on Sunday, and you can smell the tomato sauce being cooked and the garlic being cooked, and you smell all that.
Sunday, that was a macaroni day. Them great big Z, yeah, that was a macaroni day.
The common issue of family-oriented traditions are the same everywhere. A lot of the foods are very, the fact that the kitchen was the centerpiece of the home. It's not like today where, you watch television and it's about a celebrity chef.
We came home from World War II. We started getting married and living different places. We'd all come to Mom and Dad's house. We'd have pasta, and we'd have homemade bread, and we had meatballs and pork loin and different foods that we were accustomed to when we were youngsters. And it was a festive day that we all got together and helped each other set the table, eat, tell stories, enjoy each other's company, bring up to date on the kids we had and where they're going and which school they went to and what they were doing. And not only that, but we got to see some of our cousins, aunts, and uncles that come as well. So that was a great day for us. Sunday was a great day.
I'm around that kitchen table with all the grandmother, the grandfather, the parents, and my parents, and neighbors who stop by, and we're all having coffee and having pastries. And we as little kids are on the ground with, playing with little train sets for little knickknacks on the ground, and the parents are talking about whatever, and it's about community. It's about building a community. And it was great, beautiful, great stuff.
Festa Madonna is, in Italy, they celebrate carrying the Blessed Mother down the street.
Well, that's on May Day. First Sunday in May, and they carried the statue in the church. They all met at the church, and they all walked in and carried the statue. That was big doings. And then we used to go to the Italian club, and there was food and drink and dancing. And we used to close the street, and we have horses for the kids, and It was just a big party, a lot of fun.
In St. Anthony, they have a big fire. Used to be at my uncle's house, but now they do it at the IARA club, and everybody would meet, bring a dish, and have fun.
In a way, neighborhood life for us Italians on Harrison Street was the same as many other neighborhoods. Yet there were some things that set us apart. There was the Italian Club that served as a neighborhood gathering place where we could all have fun and also have the support of each other if there was a need. As much as anything, the club held the neighborhood together. Without much money, we kids played games with homemade toys. We didn't even know that we were poor. We just had a good time. Then there were the vegetable gardens. They were more important than just providing us with fresh vegetables from time to time. They were tended with hard work and loving care because the food from the gardens was used literally for survival. The neighborhood women knew how to fix vegetables 1,000 different ways, and they were all such good cooks.
The house, it was small, clean. My mother would get down on her hands and knees and scrub that wooden floor. We didn't have no rugs.
The Italian-American experience, how do you sum it up?
The neighborhood we lived in had many, many Italians, and it was a great playground. We had Lincoln School right down the street on Mason Street, and we had our own football field, we had our own baseball diamond, we had basketball court. So just walk a half a block and you had your own sports complex.
I can remember walking down Harrison Street from Maine. That would be going east to west. Maybe after church or some time, and I just get down on Harrison Street, I could smell the food. I could smell what was cooking. Say, for example, the sauce, you could smell it. When the Italians were ready to make their wine, you could smell the grapes.
It was truly a community. Everyone knew everyone else, and we knew everyone else's children. We played with each other. It was a magical period.
I can remember growing up, we had a few restaurants, and my brother Hammer, he worked over Nicky D's, which was directly across the street from our house. And a lot of activity over Nicky D's. And as I got older, I had an opportunity to spend a little time there, work there and so forth. And it was a fun place to gather.
You know, the Italian-American families around here, they're married for 50 years. We're in awe of that. This is great. They stay together, they give a sense of stability, not just to the children, a sense of stability to the neighborhood, to the community. It's about stability. That's what those values bring. That's what's really missing, I think, in society today.
Was the vegetable garden important to our family? Of course it was.
The Italian-American always ate healthy. They had gardens. They made their own pasta. My mother made her own pasta. My father made his own wine.
Oh yes, that was one of our pride. We worked at.
Everybody had a garden, and
that was the part of life, wasn't it? All the hotbeds. I had some pictures out yesterday. My mother-in-law used to put the hotbed back by the garage. It was just so neat.
That was our survival, I think. Because my mother would go back there and get some chugatti or whatever and just throw some beans in there, and you had a meal in a half hour.
And my dad planted a huge garden. I mean, he had a beautiful garden, actually, that we survived on. I mean, tomatoes, peppers, all types of peppers, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, sweet corn, radishes, carrots, green beans, peas, cucumbers, zucchini.
Zucchini, my mother had 365 ways to cook zucchini.
Perhaps it was the way we looked at circumstances that helped us survive. Doing our best with what we had and never feeling resentful. Never being afraid of hard work. Always being willing to help the person next to us, even if they weren't Italian. We came away from those hard days with a sense of happiness and pride. Pride not only of being Italian, but of being an American. All of us, no matter where we come from, can learn a lot by taking the time to listen to the wisdom of the old Italians. The keys to becoming a happy, successful person are wrapped in their words.
The things about passing it on to the kids and grandkids, I think my children already have it. And that's respect for their elders and their folks and their relatives. We were always taught to always respect the older people and help them whenever you can. With the children, just same thing, you know. They learn when they come in, they got to give you a kiss. Mandatory.
You know, you always remembered those good times and those family members. You knew that your family was always there for you. Your relative, even your godparents, they were there for you. It was a real community. It's a way of building community.
Good friends. We still have this. We ran around with the same people ever since we were 3 years old. From Pearl Street, Harrison Street, Mason Street. We're still best friends. Still hang around together, see each other every week. That's saying something there, being close.
Well, it does not exist today as it did, and I think it's just a matter of what traditionally happens to settle neighborhoods.
No, it's gone. The whole system is gone. Right after the war, after the guys got married, or the women got married, then they moved out of the neighborhood. And after the old folks died, and there was nobody left anymore.
People get married, they grow away, they get into businesses that takes them in other places. And frankly, they don't always marry Italians, and so that brings another element into it. And accordingly, the neighborhood has gone away in the sense that it was a tight and close neighborhood 50 years ago.
No. Because after I left Harrison Street and got married, everything changed. Everything changed.
Yes, I am. But I'm American, but I'm proud to be Italian. Yeah.
Oh, yes, very proud.
Oh, I'm very proud to be Italian.
No one knows what it is to be an Italian family. It's just different. It's you're closer. You learn to be closer with your family and everything.
And even after the Italian Americans are gone, the energy of that stability and that peace and that tranquility still remains in this area and may remain for a while. It's a beautiful legacy that our parents and grandparents gave us. And I'm proud.
Even at age 83, I'm not sure that I'm wise. If I had anything to pass on to my children and grandchildren, it would be only do as you have observed Italians doing, do hard work, be dedicated, be fair, be honest, be happy, be joyful that you're Italian, and help and always love your country.
I'm very proud to be an Italian because I have seen how Italian families, how close they are together and how helpful they are to one another. I've tried to be helpful myself to even non-Italians. It's just something, the Italian community just seems to love life and love people, no matter, you know, whether they're Italian or black or Hispanic, or they just like being nice to people. So that makes me proud.
As far as being proud to be an Italian, I wouldn't change for the way I was raised for all the tea in China. I've got friends that are millionaires, you know, through being as old as I am. And those guys, you know, they had cars, they had vacations, they had this and that, and we didn't have any of that stuff, and I wouldn't change it. I'm happy. I've learned a lot.
How would I sum it up? It's a little bit of heaven on earth. That was the Italian-American experience. That's how I would sum it up. Today, we can actually see the possibility that it could end. These traditions could end.
I'm glad you're interviewing me. I felt like talking to somebody, so I'm talking to you.
I'm getting excited by my own commentary.
Okay, I gotta throw this in. I pride myself because I'm 92 years old and I remember all this stuff. I should be senile, shouldn't I? Anyway, I forgot what I was going to tell you.
It took centuries to develop this. You know, it took a long time to put it together. It just didn't happen out of nowhere. And therefore, it is very, very valuable that we maintain it, that we preserve it, that we teach it to younger generations, and we explain to them how important it is and why it's so important.